Hi everyone, good evening. How are you all? So, guys, today we are starting with Bash scripting, and let me show you today's agenda. So, this is the agenda for today: introduction to shell environment, shell scripting, knowing about variables, things you should know about shell troubleshooting, scripting with Python, and questionnaire, right? So, these are the things that we'll be learning. And you guys learned about Linux and Python as well. So I hope everyone has Linux installed, either in VirtualBox or in VMwares. You guys might be having Linux, right? Or your Parrot or Kali Linux, anyone, any distro. Now, guys, today the first topic that we'll be learning is shell environment. So, what is shell environment? What do you understand by the word shell? First thing. Now, if you guys will go through the architecture of Linux, and if we talk about the architecture of Linux, so it says shell is what? Shell is the interface, like your operating system we have. Everyone knows, like, we have different types of operating systems. We have Mac, we have Windows, we have Linux, right? And various distributions of Linux. So, if we know about these all are the types of operating systems. Now, these operating systems are what? These operating systems are also the interface. These are the interfaces between whom? These are the interfaces between user and the system, right? So, the hardware that is there in the system, I'm writing system, but that system means the hardware that is there inside the system. If you as the user wants to use that hardware, then you need an OS to interact with that hardware. Otherwise, you cannot interact with that hardware, right? Same like that, shell. In Linux, what do we have? If we have shell, right? Then after shell, we have kernel, then we have hardware, right? And at the top we have application and users, right? Different types of users. Now what user does, user writes the commands in the shell, right? User writes the command in the shell communicates with the kernel and tells the kernel that what user is asking for. Let's say I want to ask that how much space is left inside my device, in my hard disk, how much space is left. I'll write some command. Yep, df. So I will write the df command, and it will tell me that how much space is left. But who's telling me? Kernel is communicating with the hard disk. It's communicating with the hard disk drive. So as soon as the hard disk replies back to the kernel, kernel replies back to the shell prints it in front of the user and kernel. Now, if we talk about kernel, so what is a kernel? We call kernel the heart of operating system. Kernel is the heart of the operating system. It is taking care of all the processes that are running in your system, right? And it is also taking care which process should be given to which processor, which core, right? So if you have 4 cores or 8 cores in your device, so which process should be given to which core is free, so that the process that I'm providing to that core will be completed early, it will be completed without any stop or without any hang, right? So that's the thing. That's why kernel is the most important thing, and we call it the heart of the operating system in Linux, right? Now, in shell, if we talk about shell, so we have different types of shells, right? Now, different types of shells, like we have sh, which is called Bourne shell. Everyone. Next, we have csh, ksh, right? So csh, C shell, ksh, corn shell, and next we have bash. This one. Bash is born again shell. Now, if we talk about bash, born again shell, and other shells as well. So this was the first shell, your sh. Sh shell was made, was created, and then it was when it was deployed. So the same commands nowadays that we are using, same commands were there, but not these many commands were there at that time when it was first created. So what people thought that we need to change the shell. So they did what? They came up with the C shell. Now C shell is what? Like if you guys know, there is a programming language with the name C. So C is a programming language. Now the syntax of that C shell was same like this programming language. Like if you want to print something, you will write printf and hello like this, and then the semicolon, right? So that's the thing. Again, if you want to have something else, if you want to take input or other things, so different types of things are there. So same, the syntax of C programming language was there, and it's hard for peoples to remember those things. It is same like the syntax, so it is very difficult for the people to remember these things, right? So what we did, the people at that time came up with the corn shell. Now what in corn shell happened, they came up with the corn shell. There were some changes in the corn shell, right? Now what type of changes were there? Like this C language script was not there. It was removed. First thing, right? Now next thing what we have, guys, in K shell there were some changes made in the Bourne shell, because peoples were happy when they were using Bourne shell. In Bourne shell what happened, what they did, like if I tell you, in Bourne shell, like we have command ls, cd, all the commands mv, move, rm, all the commands awk, awk, sed, whatever commands you have learned, all these commands were there. Now what they did, in Corn shell they made some changes that we can use the older commands, or we can uh, use the commands that were used before if we forgot them, right? So some changes were made in the Corn shell, and it was made some more interactive, right? Because Bourne shell was not that much interactive. It was just a CLI, a plain CLI, like just s- a level up from Unix. Unix is 100% CLI. Just a level up from Unix, that was Bourne shell, and then they made it interactive, and then it was Corn shell. Now, after Corn shell, we have the Bash. Bash stands for Born Again Shell. It was again the changes made in Bourne shell. Now, what changes? First, color coding. So, color codes are there. Like if there is a file, it will be in white color. so it will be file. If there is a folder or what directory, so it will be in blue color. If there is an image, that will be in purple color, right? Like these, the color codes. They started using color codes. So that's why we use bash. And bash became the default shell. So bash is the default shell. Whenever you will download, so your default shell will be bash, right? Now, this was about shells. Now, what else changed in bash? Like color codes was there. Now you can check the history. Whatever commands, like last 500 commands, you can check whatever last 500 commands you have used. You can check the history. By pressing the up arrow, you can reuse the commands, right? Now you are able to reuse the commands. That is also a good thing, right? Because you don't have to, like, if you have a command that is very, very long, you have to use it again. Rather than typing it again, you will just do what? You will press up arrow two, three times, and when this command will be there, you will press enter and that command will be executed. Isn't it a good thing? Yes. So for feasibility was improved, right? So these types of things were added. GUI, GUI was made more interactive. So now you can use the Linux as like Windows, right? You just have to know what files are where and which file is saved inside which directory, because the directories are same. Like we have different types of directories inside it, ben and etc, tmp, many types of directories are there. But you have to do what? You have to know that which directory has what type of files. If you are using lib, so you should know what type of files are there, library files are there. So that's the thing. You can use it like Windows now. Double click on it, open it. Now, why we use Linux? More secure, right? It is more secure as compared to other things, other operating systems. Now we are using the kernel of Linux and Windows as well, but still, Linux is more secure. In security part, Linux is more secure. And I'm a security guy. I will always take care of the security of the organization and of mine as well. Right? Okay. Now this was about shell. This word is completed. Now let's take the whole word. Shell environment is what, guys? If we talk about shell environment, so it is this whole thing that we are talking about. This whole thing is a mechanism. And a mechanism for what? By which any shell, be it your bash, sh, or any other shell, it will maintain the settings and other details, other behavioral details about the shell, right? So the shell will create this environment when the session will be started, and it will use the environment's setting to tell how the user and the shell will be interacting. So all these settings will be taken care by the shell environment. And when you create a new session, like you started Linux and you started a new shell, right? So the process of creating a new shell is called shell spawning, right? So when you create a new shell, start a new shell, that is shell spawning. And it is like a copy of a shell that is previously open, previously running in your system, right? So that's the thing. Now, for the environment, what we have, let me show you one command, right? So I'll tell you one command and I'll tell you what that command is telling. I like Kali. Parrot is also good, but we like Kali as well. So if you are a newbie in Linux and want to learn Linux and Bash shell scripting, so you just start with the Ubuntu part. So it's more interactive and it has more colors. So it will be not a frequent change from Windows to Ubuntu, right? Okay, great. So while it's starting, let me tell you the thing. Yes, we will be covering Bash scripting. So the thing is, guys, that there is a command. So process will be showing you the actively running processes, their process IDs, the initial process ID, new process ID, and the new shells that you have started, right? So what we'll do, yeah. So we'll go to this Linux and we'll start the Linux. Let's try that command and let's see what those commands and what the output is telling you, right? So if I write the first command sudo super user do space substitute user, that is the full form of your sudo su, right? Okay, great. Now I have written this command ps-f. So this is your user ID root. Who ran these processes? The root ran these processes, right? Now this PID is process ID. This is your initial shell process ID, right? When your shell was initially started, what was the process ID for it, right? Now, next thing, PPID. What is PPID? Anyone? PPID. This is your parent process ID, right? What this is? Parent process ID, right? Now, after parent process ID, what we have next? The time. This TTY. What is this TTY? TTL is time to live, Mr. Arvin. This is TTY. This is terminal type. The command, if the command that you have ran, sudo su, zsh, ps-f, these are the commands that you have ran, right? So this is how this command is structured, right? Now, the thing is, next thing, if I write bash over here, so what this bash is, if we talk about this bash, what that is, this is your new shell spawned, right? So we have spawned a new shell, and the process of creating new shell, this process is called shell spawning, right? So that's what I was talking about when I was talking about shell spawning, guys. That how you can spawn a shell, right? So understood these two things? Clear? Yep, we can. Every time you get inside TTY means these are the two things. Now let's go to the presentation again. Privilege escalation can be done on any shell, Mr. Mahesh. If I'm trying to access your device and you are using bash shell, but I'm using ZSH, the newest shell, ZSH, Z shell, right? So if you are attacking my machine and you want to perform the escalation, you can do that. It depends on you what type of privilege escalation you will do, vertical or horizontal, right? In vertical you will be the root user, and in horizontal you will be a normal user with some privileges, right? So that is the thing. Okay, if a shell has spawned, so it will not give you error if you talk about your own machine, right? So if you will see, it is not giving me any error. So bash is spawned. We are using bash. And if you are asking about the shell that we spawn in someone else's machine, if we are attacking that machine and we are trying to get inside that machine, so guys, there will be a session that will be created with the name meterpreter, right? So that meterpreter session tells you that your shell has been started, right? And there is a command that by which you can do what you can, if there is an session that is your a shell that is your non-interactive, so import python hyphen space hyphen c, and then a shell, pty shell, right? And slash bin slash bash, right? So this is a command by which what you can do, by which you can spawn a shell, an interactive shell. You got the session, you started the session, and now you are not able to run any command over there. So for spawning a session, a shell which is interactive, you will use this command, right? Now getting back, shell environment done. Next thing, again a question, thing or not. So in my opinion, script is what it is, a program that will automate the execution of task. What it will do, it will automate the execution of task. Whatever task you want to perform, all those will be automated in the shell environment, right? So scripts are written in the scripting languages, and those are full of programming languages. So scripting languages are subset of programming languages, and script do not have the feature set of fully fledged program, but it integrates with other programs and operating system components to achieve automation, right? So if we want to perform the scripting, so we should know about the scripting language. First we have bash scripting, right? So this is the language of bash shell, what your bash shell understands. But if you want to do, you can do that in Python as well. You can do that in Perl as well, right? So these are the scripting languages. You can do that in Ruby as well. If you guys have heard of Ruby on Rails, so it is a framework for web development, but you can use Ruby for scripting as well, right? So that is what your scripting is and script is, right? So we use bash scripting in Linux, but if you want, you can use Python as well. So that's the thing. Now, in scripting, what happens? We have something with the name variables. Now, what do you understand by the word variables? What are variables, guys? If I'm writing a equals to 10, I read somewhere that a equals to 10, so here a is the variable. But what will be the definition of variable? I again read somewhere that they have written like ABC equals to hello. This is also a variable. Now, here they have written a number, here they have written a word. How can I understand what is a variable? Now, here they have written one word, one alphabet A, they are calling this thing a variable. And now, here what they are doing, they have written three alphabets, still they are calling it one variable. How can it be? So, what is a variable? At some place, I have seen like this as well, equals to I have read somewhere that a equals to 10. So in this thing, a is a variable. I understood that clearly, right? That a equals to 10, a is called variable, right? So when I started writing code, I wrote b equals to 10 or c equals to 15 like this. Now again, I used some other book, I read some other book, and there it was written like A, B, C equals to hello. This thing. So that's the thing. Like ABC, first they are calling a variable, a single alphabet a variable. Now they are calling a combination of three alphabets a variable, and inside variable they are storing what? They are storing a string, a value, right? So what is variable? Yep, Mr. Mahesh, I know that. We don't have to tell the data type in Python. So the thing is, guys, I was just telling you this thing because for the peoples who are all new in this, so the thing is, variable is what? Variable is a box, right? It is what? It is a box. Now, what you can do in that box is like any jar you can say. So it has a lid, right? So there is a lid, right? And this is a jar. So you can close the lid, you can put anything. Like once you did what? You put a packet of cookies inside it. Yeah, it will be like there and you will close the lid. So it will be good. Now, once what you did, you put some liquid inside it. That will also work, right? So that is also the thing. You can put liquid, right? So, like you stored milk inside it for 1 day or two. So that is also working. Now, what you thought, like I have put solid liquid. What if I put something like gas? So nitrogen oxide, you put that. It was also there. So that jar was able to store that as well. So same like that, guys, what we have a variable. It depends on you what you want to store inside it. If I write a equals to 10, it is an integer. If I am writing a equals to 11.7, this is also a integer with a floating value. So it is float, like it is a decimal value. That's why we write float. If I write a equals to Mahesh, so that is also stored inside a. This Mahesh is called string. And what is string? String is a group of characters, right? So if we talk about string, string is a group of character and character is a single character. Now, if I want to store single character, I will write that in single quotes. And if I want to store a string, so that will be in double quotes. So any arbitrary value you can save inside this particular variable. So this is called variable. Now the thing is, let's see how we work with the variables. If I write it over here and just a command I want to show you, everyone knows the echo command. As you can see, echo command is white. Echo is working fine. So now if I'm writing echo, so echo command is for what? If you want to print anything, it will be printed, right? Anything you want to print. If you want to save something inside a file, you can write it like this as well, like hello.txt. If you do ls, so your hello.txt is here. And you can do what if you will cat hello.txt. So it's saved inside. But if I write echo hello.txt and inside hello.txt, I also want to have how are you. If I cat it out, the hello will be removed, right? So this operator is not for appending, it is for replacing. Now, if you want to append something, so what will I do? If I want to write hello also inside that, so we'll use double operator and it will be inside hello.txt, right? So it is appended. That's how you work with the echo command. Okay, great. Now, if I write echo and let's say I'm writing shell underscore var. So this is the name of the variable, right? I'm writing the name of the variable and dollar is used for calling the value. If any value is saved inside this variable, so print that value. Now we haven't even stored any value inside this, so it is showing no output, right? So now what will I do? So there is a command with the name export, and using export command, I'll write shell underscore variable and let's save some value inside it. So I'm saving like bash. Press enter. Now, if I'll write this again, so bash is saved here, right? So what I have done, I created a variable and saved value inside it, right? Now, what I can do, there is one more command with the name env and the shell variable that we have created, it's here, right? So this is the shell variable that we created, it's here. And these others are the all the variables that are there for this particular environment. Yes, it depends on your environment, Mr. Manushri. It's the shell you are using, but your environment is taking care of all the variables that you have and that you are using, right? Okay. My ls is not a command. If I write ls hyphen l, it will give you this. Now, if I write, oh, sorry, if I write ls space hyphen la, what is the meaning of this l and a? It will list everything like this as well. and it will list like hyphen A as well. It is listing everything like this in A. It is also showing you the hidden files. Yep. In hyphen A, Mr. Harish, it's showing you hidden files. And here in hyphen L, it's just showing you this. So what do you mean by hyphen L and hyphen A? Hyphen L means in the long text format, in the long format, right? So this is the long format. It's not showing you hidden files. If you will do hyphen L, it is only showing you all the files, but it is not showing you any hidden file, right? It is just showing you files in the long format with their privileges. What privileges do they have? What every user has the privileges, and how many files are there inside the user and the group, how many files inside when it was created, and the file name, right? It is showing you that. So L means long format and A means list all. So it will be listing all the files, even your hidden files. Like as you can see, all the files that are starting from dot, these are your hidden files, right? So it is showing you that, right? Okay. ls if you want to modify the things, let's say if you have a file with the name this ip.txt, right? So let's see over here. It has read write for the user, for the owner, for the group only read, and for this others it has only read. So you just have to write the command chmod, and if you want to give it execute, so you can write plus x as well, and ip.txt. So if you will do ls hyphen l, so you can see it's in cyan color, and every one of them got the executable permission. Chmod change moderation, right? If you want to change, if you want to give it change moderation. Now if you want to give it only to the person, only to the user that is there, yep, x means execute. And if you want to give it only to the user, only to the owner, so you will write 700. 7 means read write execute. So the binary value, the decimal values, if we talk about, so it says only 7. 4 is the value for read, 2 is for write, and 1 is for execute. So all of them combined makes a sum of 7. So 7 is for user, others 0, and ip.txt, the file name. So if I do ls space hyphen l now, you will see that no one has any privileges. Just read write execute is given to the owner of the file. So that's how you can change the things. Okay, great. Now you know about ls space hyphen lat. Yep. What is this T, guys? I wrote T, lat. What is this lat? Hyphen la, you guys know now. T is doing what? It is arranging the files in descending order. Like when the files, if the files are recently created, it will be in the first position, and till your older files. So as you can see, the files that are created in November, these are here. Then after that, you have October, and that is the format. Now here in a ls space hyphen la, you are getting the files but in a random order, right? So that's the difference. T means time, but according to time, it will be arranging the files. Okay, right? So I was just telling you about these commands just for the knowledge purpose. So ls space hyphen la, everyone knows this command. Now what I'll do, I'll change this command. I'll not use this command again. I don't want to write this command every time. Like it's very long. You have to press the space bar as well. So being like if you are if you want to have like less commands. Like uh there was a question that was asked from you guys, that which is the smallest command, right? And you said W is the smallest command, right? Now what I can do, I can make my smallest command as well. How? I can write alias. Let's say I is my smallest command, equals to ls space hyphen la. Press enter. If I write I and press enter, this is now my smallest command. These are the things. By only writing I rather than writing ls space hyphen la, alias, as you can, if you will read it in the dictionary, alias is the second name, also known as, right? So alias is the second name. If you are like, if you have a name Mahesh, so if you have any pet name or a name by which your parents call you, so that is the name. You can write Mahesh alias this, right? Or by which you are known to the public. So that is alias. I is known as ls space hyphen la, right? So that is the thing. This thing you can use. Now, do you guys know about the time command? So it is giving you the output. Shell, user time, the system, how much usage of the system, CPU, everything. So 0% of CPU is in use. It is giving you the date, but time command is giving you what? How much percentage of CPU is used. If I write time, space, let's say ls hyphen rl slash system and redirect it to slash dev slash null. What you can see over here. So RL is for real. So it is giving you the real time 0.04 seconds, right? And user CPU time, right? So it is the user CPU time, and this is the system 97%. How much system is used? So ls for the ls command, right? So that is the thing. This is for what? What is slash dev slash null? See, if you want to do this date hyphen hyphen help, Mr. Mahesh, it will give you the help menu of the date. I don't like to go this help menu, but I go to the manual page, so I write man and date. It will give you the manual page of that, how to use the command. So it will also give you how to use the syntax. What is the syntax? Then it will give you the description, then description about every option that you can use with the date command, right? What literals you can use, all these literals you can use. So rather than going to the help page, prefer going to the man page. It will help you more. It's for everyone, right? Great. Now this is the time command. Color auto, real time, 0.04 seconds, user time, system percentage. Now this was your variables, right? And some commands in the shell. Now, next thing that we have is troubleshooting. Now, you guys will tell me if there is any problem. You may encounter some issues when you are using or customizing the shell. Now, the thing is, guys, if you want to like do the things in with shell or environment, so like we use the alias command, check the syntax, right? First, you have to check the syntax if you are writing the syntax correct. That is the most important thing, right? Right. Now, when you are executing scripts or other programs, and if they are not stored in the normal location. So then you have to add their location to the path variable, or you have to execute them with a dot slash command. So if that command is not working, so there is a command exec to execute anything or any particular script you have written. If it's not working with that, so you can use what? You can use dot slash as well. So I prefer dot slash because it will not give us the error, right? Now, if we are using the thing, like if we are creating a new variable, so like we use the export command, so you should also use the export command to do what? To set variable for child processes, right? And if you want to change the variables, so there is a file with the name dot bash underscore profile. Okay, so there is a file with the name bash profile, and it's here, right? So inside user share doc add user example, these folders, there is bash underscore profile where you can make variable available to all the shells, right? And you can edit this file to change default variables. So if you are having problem with the variables, you can use this, right? Mm, Next thing, guys, these were some points that you can use. So your bash underscore profile is the place where you will change all the things regarding your variables, right? Moving on to the next thing, what type of common operators do we have? We have arithmetic operators, so add, subtract, multiplication, and division. Arithmetic, comparison operators, equals to, not equals to, right? What else? Less than equal to, greater than equal to, or less than only and greater than only, right? So that these are the comparison operators. Now logical operators. What are logical operators, guys? So logical operators are what? These operators will connect multiple values together so that, like, we have AND operator, OR operator, right? Or we have NOT operator. So these types of operators we have, these are called your logical operators. Then we have string operators. So what are string operators? Anyone? String operators are used for strings. We discussed about strings, and what is a string? Which is a group of characters. So this is also string, right? Now, if I want to do indexing or slicing of a string, so that those operators will be your string operators, right? So every language has different string operators, and they will manipulate the strings in using various things and various commands, right? So these all are the operators that we can use: arithmetic, comparison, logical, and string. Next, what is Python? We discussed about Python. So you learned about Python, right? So Anyone who can tell me what is a Python? What is Python? Like, I read about it, I didn't understood it completely. So scripting languages is subset of programming languages. So it is both. We can do anything with the Python, and Python is a language that is nowadays booming. It is on hype, and everyone wants to learn this because in red teaming and cyber security, in data science and machine learning, everywhere for automating the task, everywhere we are using Python, right? First thing. So this is the language. But before that, we should know how we will do bash scripting, right? If I want to perform the bash scripting, first thing, let me know guys, how can you create a file? If I will use, I can use the touch command, but if I'll use the touch command, it will only create the file. It will not open it in front of me. So what I'll do, I'll use directly the nano command. So what the work of nano command is, the work of nano command is to find out the file and edit it. It is an editor. So it does what? It finds out the file if that file is there. So it will edit it. Otherwise, if it does not finds that file, it will create a new one. Now, whenever you are starting to write a script, always remember you will write sh as the extension, so that not for the device, not for your interpreter, but for the person who will read that code, right? Next thing, whenever you start writing a script, you will tell the interpreter, you will tell your compiler that I'm writing a script. It's not a normal program, it's not a normal thing that I want to print. It's a script that you have to run. So you will do what? You will write this hash and exclamation mark. And what that hash and exclamation mark means. So before starting any script, we have to tell the interpreter that we are trying to start a script. So we'll write this hash and exclamation mark slash bin slash bash, right? Writing this first thing, this is called shebang, right? Always remember the name. This first thing is called shebang. It is used to tell the compiler that we are now starting a script. You have to execute it. First thing. So we'll write that slash bin slash bash. Slash bin slash bash is what? Slash bin slash bash is your shell. So inside the bin folder, your bash folder is there, and this is your shell. So in interpreter, you just have to, it will take more time. It is more uh, time taking to use interpreter, right? So that's how you will start the script. Then let's say I'm writing echo and welcome to infosec train. This thing. Save it. Now let's run it. How will you execute it? If I write execute and jcp dot sh, jcp dot sh command not found, right? Now what will I do? That's why I told you guys you have to use dot slash and jcp dot sh. So it says what? Permission denied, right? So what I'll do, we have to give the executable permission. So chmod chmod plus x jcp dot sh. Press enter. Now let's try execute jcp.sh. It says again, right? So we have to set first the path variable. So rather than doing that, what we'll do dot slash jcp.sh, and it says command not found, right? So what we'll do, we'll again do nano and jcp.sh. Now it says what? Echo this thing. Now again, now run it again. It says welcome to infosec train. Now why I made that error? Why I made that error? That error was created, was made intentionally, because I want to tell you guys that in bash scripting you have to take care of these things, right? The spaces, right? So you have to take care of the spaces, which space we are using and which space we are not. So where to give the space. If you will not give the space over here after the command, it will give you an error. And if you will give an extra space, it will again give you an error, right? So that's the thing, right? Now let's do ls. And if I write cat abc.sh, so this is a program as well, right? So let me show you that. Now, this is a command, and this is the thing that will help you in finding the number, which number is greater, right? Now, before that, let me tell you, let me start a new thing like nano. And if I write abcd.sh. Now, what I want to do, first thing first, I'll start with slash bin slash bash. And what I'll do, now I'll write a program for adding two numbers. I want to add two numbers. So what will I do? Now for adding two numbers, first thing that we have to do, we have to take two numbers. So I have written a equal to 10. So inside a, I have written 10. I have saved 10. Then I have written b equal to 20. I have written this, right? Now what I'll do, I'll write c, or c equals to, inside this we'll call the value of a first, dollar a, then plus. Now call the value of b. So dollar is used to call the value, dollar b. Now these will be added. Then again, the addition will call the value of addition, right? And what I'll write, dollar over here again. So first, the value of a will be called here. It will be filled like 10 is filled over here. Then after that, b will be called and 20 will be filled. Then addition will happen, and the value of addition will be called by using this dollar here. So then these all the value of addition will be saved inside c. And then what we'll do, echo the sum is dollar c. Now is this program correct? Are there any errors? Anyone? Okay, let's see. So first thing first, chmod plus x abcd dot sh and dot slash abcd dot sh. It says the sum is 30. Everything is correct, right? That's how you will write the code. Now, what if you don't want to get this, but you want to do what? You want to get the input from the user. So what we'll write, you will write first echo, enter the first number, right? And for taking the input, you will use the read command and A, right? Then again, you will write echo, enter the second number, right? And you will write read B, right? So this is for reading the input given by the user, right? Now again, the same process. Let's see if it works. So we'll run it. It says enter the first number. The sum is 35. It's correct. So that's how you take the input from the user. Correct. Now what I can do, I can tell you how you will write a script for the greater number. So we'll use this thing. Okay. This one. So what we did, I printed that enter the first number, right? It entered the first number, right? So it printed this thing on my screen. Then I have to print a number. So where the input will be saved? That input will be saved in A. So who will save that? The read command will save that input inside A. So read will take the input and throw it inside A. It will be saved inside A. Then enter the second number. Again, same thing will happen. Read will do what? Read will take the input from the user, whatever the number user is writing, and it will throw it inside B. That B, please save this. We'll need that after some time. After that, what will happen? Again, this operation will be happening, the addition operation. So the value of A will be called, which is saved inside the box of A. The value of B will be called, which is saved inside the box of B. And then what will happen? It will be added. Then that added value will be called and saved inside C. And then I'm printing echo the sum is C. So the value is saved inside C. And it will be called and it will be printed. That is the thing, right? Now, next thing. We have written jcp.sh, right? It's good. Let's do ls and let's do nano abc.sh. Now, same thing is happening. Enter the first number, enter the second number. So inside of first, I can also write this A. And in place of second, I can write like B, right? So here the condition is working. GT is for greater than. So if value of A is greater than B, then print first is greater. Otherwise, else print second is greater. And when you start this condition statement, these are called conditional statements, if and else. So when you start these conditional statements, you have to close those conditional statements as well. So starting if and closing with fi. Now this thing is done. So what you will write dot slash abc dot sh and press enter. It says enter the first number. I'm writing 23 and 12, right? So it's saying dash is greater. Nothing is there because there is some error in the code. Now tell me what is the error. So here in echo we'll write A, And for the second, we'll write B. Press enter, 45 is greater, right? So that's how you find out the things, right? Now, these are the things you can practice, right? Some simple programs like a program of a palindrome for finding out how many times a word is repeated in a string. These types of programs will help you so that you can build your logic, and now you know how to start the scripting. It's same, right? Now, next thing, guys. We discussed about Python. Now the question is, can we use Python for scripting? Is Python a scripting language? So the answer is, guys, yes. Yes, we can use Python for scripting. Python is an interpreted language. Yes, miss. So how you can write a Python program? So what I can do, I can write nano jcp2.py. I have created a new file. Now how will I start writing? So what we shall write? We shall write slash user slash bin slash env space python 3. This is how you will start a Python script, right? Now what you will do? How you will like write the code? If you will write, let's say number one, num1 equal to 10, num2 equal to 20, right? And sum equal to num1 plus num2, right? And print chmod plus x space jcp2.py dot slash jcp2.py. It says 30, right? So that's how you use the thing, right? But for that, what you have to do, you have to write apt install, right? So you will write apt install, and then Python you will install. So pip3 you will install, and Python you will install. So you have to install Python 3. The main thing is that you have to install Python 3. Otherwise, if you haven't installed it, so what you will do, like if I write nano and jcp2.sh, nano jcp2.py, if I do this, so if I write only Python over here, not I'm writing Python 3 but Python, it will also it will itself find out that it's Python 3. But if you have not installed Python 3, then what you have to do, then the error will be you have to write it like this, int and then 10, right? So because if your version of Linux is outdated, then you have to write it like this, int number and those things. So rather than doing that, just install Python 3, right? Okay. Now, for a complementary thing, I just want to tell you, like if you will write the code of the Python, you just have to know which code you are writing, and it will be same. Just you have to start it with the shebang slash user slash bin slash env and then space the Python, right? Now, Okay, this is some other code. This is for voice. This is also a Python code, but it's a very long code. Yep, you can do that, Mr. Mahesh. No one has heard. Now, PyTTSX3 is what? It is a module, it is a library in your Python. No, not Python terminal type, but it is a library that will change text to the speech. So I'm sending a program to you guys. Run that program in your device. So the program is, let me find out. Okay, nano voice.py. Now this is the program. First thing what you have to do, you have to install. So you have to install the PyTTXX3 in your device, right? So everyone write PyTTSX3 in your terminal and press enter. It will give you an error. And in that error, if you will see the last line, it will tell you how to install PyTTSX3. So it will be written apt install PyTTSX3. First, you have to install PIP for that, right? So these are some things that you have to install. It's whatever is written. So if I show you, if I write nano, so it says Sally sells she shells by the seashore. The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. It's saying that. If you want to listen, this thing, this is there.
Sally sells seashells by the seashore. The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog.
This is the thing that your PyTTSX3 does. Clear? So that's how you can write scripts in Python as well. Yep, it's converting the text to the speech, right? So that's the thing.